Round one. Fight.
Heroes never die.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
Power, sex, power. They both come down to one thing.
Hungry gamers.
Hello, and welcome, boys and girls, to the 228th episode of the Hungry Gamers podcast. We're powered by ATEBIT.net, Audio Technica, and those sexy legends over at Manscaped. I'm your extremely humble host, Brendan White. You can find me just about everywhere at Brendan 8-Bit. And joining me today, my podcast Ride or Die, my co-host on this very special, very unique, very unscripted Valentine's Day love, romance, and everything in between edition of the Hungry Gamers, Miss Ali Hart. You can find her on them socials at Miss Ali Hart. How you doing today?
Doing well. It's that wonderful time of the year where we're kind of made to feel guilty, whether we're alone, whether we buy shitty gifts, or whether we care about the actual day itself. But, I mean, hey, it's always a good day to kind of work around our deep, darkest kinks when it comes into games.
Perfectly explained, yeah. So, obviously, from that open, we're obviously doing an episode in conjunction with the day that is Valentine's Day. It's currently the 13th of February here in Australia, the 12th in the US as we record, but this will be out the day after Valentine's for Australians, or on Valentine's Day for Americans and the rest of the world. So we thought we'd talk about, sort of heart-related moments in video games. We're talking about, unique crushes, ride or dies. We'll have a look at sort of where people are ranking the quote-unquote sexiest video game characters as well, and sort of maybe debate that a little bit. Are they on the mark? Are they off the mark? But yeah, we're not really going to be tackling any news. We might if we've got some time, but full disclosure, we've misread the calendar and the actual time on the clock, and we've got to record a Cyberpunk 2077 spoiler cast after this, so we may not tackle any news at all. We're already not tackling what we've been playing, but we've been playing some games that have been out for a while, but we'll talk about those on a future episode of THG. And maybe, Miss Hart, maybe we'll just jump right into this, eh?
Let's do it.
We'll do the first question that we've thrown out to the listeners, and it is, what is the most heartwarming moment you've experienced in a video game? Miss Hart, did you want to tackle the Discord responses and I'll grab the Twitters, or did you want to grab Twitters and I'll grab Discord?
I can do the Discords. They're the ones we've listed up here first. So, the peeps over at the Discord. So we have Tillhouse, who says, Witcher 3 Unicorn. It's not heartwarming, but it certainly heats up. And I think I know what scene he's talking about. I haven't played The Witcher 3, but I think I'm pretty certain I've seen that scene referenced quite a lot on the internet. Yeah,
that is Geralt and Yen having some fun times on a big stuffed unicorn that Yen has had for many, many years of her very long and illustrious life. And they go to town on it. Makes me giggle because I sort of think of this scene and the Anchorman sex scenes sort of hand in hand. They're the only two things in media I can think of that involved a unicorn and sex. And they just forever linked.
Yeah, some weird connection there. Limo Tank, also on the Discord, says pulling the Master Sword, or the ending of Bioshock Infinite, or the ending of Shadow of the Tomb Raider. And I don't think I'm familiar with the ending of Bioshock Infinite or Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
I'm familiar with these endings. I'm not going to talk spoilers, but both of them were pretty emotional roller coasters, especially the ending of Infinite. The way that game sort of wraps and where it goes, and the possibilities as far as spin-offs and where they could take the story, really, really sort of churned up the emotions. The first one he mentioned, and I know I'm probably one of the few that is very ho-hum with this, but everyone that's listened to probably at least one or two episodes of the Hungry Gamers knows that I'm not the biggest Zelda guy. Ocarina of Time I can give a lot of mad props to, but most recently with Breath of the Wild, I'm like, yeah, cool, righto, it's a game. It's fine as our sort of scoring metric goes. It's fine. But I think that Master Sword is a good it's a good, consistent sort of heartwarming experience you can get in a lot of games where you do get this mythical item or this mythical moment happens. And I do remember sort of dealing with that in those early Zelda iterations where you do finally get this very powerful device and you're like, oh my God, I feel like I can take on the world now. Ganon, you go down, brother. But yeah, I can't wait for more Bioshock. And obviously Shadow of the Tomb Raider, the origin story of Miss Lara Croft, done very well by Crystal Dynamics and Co. Check it out if you haven't, Miss Hart. You need to play those games.
I know. Like, the most recent ones actually look really good, so I should probably take some time aside and, churn through those. There's 2 at the moment, right? Of the more latest version, right?
No, there's 3. There's 3.
3?
Yeah.
3?
I think it's a trilogy, right?
Is it? I only remember 2, so I'll have to check out what the 3rd one is. And Clayton in the Discord says, when Aurora finally makes it back home and saves her people after being trapped in Lemuria, certainly helped that my daughter Puppy was due to be born in a few weeks upon completing this excellent game. Oh, what game is this one?
So Mr. Clayton here is talking about a little indie gem known as Child of Light. So great little sort of side-scroller platformer done by Ubisoft and Ubisoft Montreal. Funnily enough, full sort of spoiler here, well, not spoiler on the game itself, but Salim the Dream and I actually worked on an iteration of something that wasn't called Spoilercast at the time, way back when I was still living in Sydney, and this was going to be our first ever episode of this sort of deep dive Spoilercasty show, and we recorded it, but never cut it together or sort of, I guess, landed on the secret source. So I've got this episode recorded on the computer still from like 4 years ago as something of a little test project that we never worked on. But yeah, great game. Very gorgeous, great visuals, really cute soundtrack, and really good story.
Yes, it looks pretty. I have to put that one on my list too. This is just going to be me putting games on a list.
Thank you in advance, listeners, for padding out the to-do list of gaming, that's for sure.
Then we also have Ramster?
Yeah, Ramster?
Let me know if I'm getting your names wrong on the Discord. You can, chew me out and tell me how to actually say your names properly. They say Chrono Trigger, frog carving a path through the mountain using Masamune. It isn't exactly a heartwarming experience, but it still gives me goosebumps every time I watch it.
I haven't got really much skin in the game in the Chrono Trigger series. Like, I think I dabbled way back when on like gens of consoles from our childhood, but yeah, I've heard there's some good moments in that nice little JRPG.
All I know is that it actually has really good music. I've actually heard a lot of video game remixes that uses Chrono Trigger, like themes and music in it, and it sounds pretty good. So I might do for that.
Yeah. No, all right. So if we migrate over to the responses on Twitter, and at It's Tilby, obviously Matt Tilby here, the host of Hoop Dreams on the 8-Bit podcast circuit. He says, Pavati character's arc to get her with Junlei in the Outer Worlds is just so cheesy and cute, I couldn't deal with it. Made running through the alien-infested planet that had the special cookies for the date all the more worth it. So,
it is
did you play the Outer Worlds? You know this quest he's talking about?
Yeah, I actually do know this quest. Yeah, like it definitely came to mind just overall. Pavati herself is adorable. She's like
she really
cutest like character that I've had in a video game in a long time. And then the moment where I realized she then was developing a crush for this other character and that you were kind of nudging her, you were kind of helping her out, I'm like, well, this is cute. This is so adorable. I loved it. Yeah,
it was very relatable too, with sort of how sort of bumblingly cute she was with some of it, and how unsure about what to wear and what to cook and all this kind of stuff. It's really cute. It's like sort of, I guess, if you were a parent seeing your kid go on their first date and sort of just making sure it works out. And yeah, she's one of the best things about the Outer Worlds by a long way. And that little sort of episodic story arc you get with her is phenomenal. So I loved it. At Jamie Penning over on Twitter's, One I can think of is the ending to Astral Chain, where the main character realizes what's happened to their father and knows exactly what's going to happen next. he doesn't want to put spoilers in for just in case for people who haven't played it.
Appreciate it.
I haven't played Astral Chain yet. I have downloaded it because I believe it's on Xbox Game Pass at the moment. And,
is it?
When I was doing my downloads a couple of weeks ago, I added it to my list. So it's on my list to check out because it does look very funky. Very funky. It's sort of, I don't know how to describe it. It's like anime Devil May Cry. Is sort of the way I sort of look at it as a way to describe it.
It looked very fast paced, which I can always appreciate with the game. I've watched a few Twitch streamers play it because I was very curious about it. So yeah, it looks like a good one. Looks like you're in for quite a moment. Yeah,
it looks cool, and I think I just like the darkness that it's got in it. Like not as in the lighting itself, but it just seems like it's got a pretty dark and serious tone to it. So at Jono himself, obviously Australia's Jono Peck, he says two come to mind. The brief relief of domestic happiness on Ellie and Dina's farm. And then the second one is when John Marston buys the land deed and builds a house for Abigail. I wholeheartedly agree. Funnily enough, they're both tied around farming homesteads. These two moments he's mentioning and
Jono's
referring
having
to
a
here,
moment.
but they are two very big moments, especially with the what's to come after these moments, and knowing, I guess, how much weight these moments in time have, where it is just like this nice, beautiful, pure sense of complete happiness, only for things to change not too long after. So yeah, they're big ones. They're big ones. They're both on sort of my short list. That's for damn sure.
Is the John Marston one when that song plays, or is that later on? The house building song that's like during a building sequence of a house.
That's the one. That's the one.
Yeah, I love that. I love the tune.
Yeah. At Dodgy Don Gaming, that moment at the end of Far Cry 3 when you don't pick your friends. If you know, you know.
Oh.
Do you know, Miss Hart? Do you
know?
Did
I get to the ending of Far Cry 3? I think I did. And I think I know what he's referring to. Yeah.
It's tough because so many of these gaming moments that people reference are like big pivotal scenes in a game, so we don't really want to deep dive and spoil it for everybody. So almost use these lists and answers from people here as Miss Hart said, to add to your gaming list to go back and play, so you know what we're talking about.
Exactly.
Or not talking about.
Exactly.
All right, at the Spawny 13, obviously Benny McJanet, the host of Cocktail Club. End of Ori and the Blind Forest. I love that series. I love that franchise.
I never played it.
So beautiful, so heartwarming, so gut-wrenching. And yeah, I'm with you, Benny. I'm with you. Sadly, we're talking in riddles still, and that's all we're going to say about these endings. But yeah. Have you played any Ori, Miss Hart?
No, because it's kind of platformer-ish, right?
Yeah.
So usually I steer away from those kind of games because it's really hard to keep my attention, unfortunately. But it is a pretty game. I do know that much. So
I think you need to at least add this to your list of games to hopefully play one day because they're very special. This and Will of the Wisps.
I think it's going to get longer by the end of today.
I'll send you a is it Reflex paper? Is that 250 sheets or 500 sheets in a ream? I'll send you a ream of paper and some pens.
I love that terminology for a ream.
A ream. That's right. Isn't that what they call it?
Yeah, it is. It's a ream of paper. Yeah. Trust me. Office work, man.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Do you remember dot matrix printers? You know, the
rings
ones
a
that were
bell.
sort of one big continuous sheet of paper and they'd print out and it had like little dot bits down the side you could pull off?
Yeah. And you could, the feeling of like just ripping them
when
off.
you get a good rip. My work from like a few lives ago had one of those as their like order printing machine, and it was the biggest pain in the ass.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just because like it'd jam all the time.
I mean,
or sometimes you'd try and get that sweet rip and it wouldn't be sweet, and then you'd end up ripping like the sales order or something. You're like, fuck, now I got to reprint this thing. Anyway, the last response come from Twitter from @PaulJamesGames. I guess it's not a single moment, but a compilation. Vivi in Final Fantasy IX as he gradually comes to develop his own identity and detach himself from his cloned origins.
Oh.
Now, Miss Hart, have you played I'm not a big Final Fantasy guy, so I've got zero skin in this game.
I've never
You
played.
got any skin?
I've got, well, my Final Fantasy knowledge is like 2 games, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I think I've seen people play this one on stream. I think I always get them mixed up. So
Yeah. As a related note, I did buy Final Fantasy VII Remake over the Christmas break.
oh yeah,
And I will play it over the coming months. But right now, I don't even have a PlayStation 5 because it's down in Melbourne getting the final touches for my modifications done. So I should hopefully have it back maybe by the end of this week. So I'm excited to see that. But yeah, I'm excited to play that FF7 remake that everyone's all about and see if it builds on my little love affair with Final Fantasy. It's been a very brief summer fling so far in my lifetime, but we'll get it going. Miss Hart, let's throw this question to ourselves. What is your most heartwarming moment you've experienced in a video game?
So I'm sure there's been quite a few, but it's really hard to isolate ones where I myself kind of went like, oh, you know. But this is like very mild spoilers for Bug Snacks, and I know, right? She's talking about Bug Snacks, so get ready for it. But there's a character in this game called Chandlo, and he's actually played by Yuri Lowenthal, who I think
Spider-Man.
And he's this like kind of dude bro jockey kind of character, and he's usually found helping his close companion Snorpy, who is a nerdy, awkward, anxious character. So you're playing through the game, you're doing side quests and everything, and then it soon comes to Snorpy's he realizes that he likes Chandlo more than a friend. He actually likes him more as a companion. So then you're there trying to help Snorpy, get the guts to go and tell this friend who's they're polar opposites. You got a dude jock bro guy kind of and a nerd, and you're helping him convince him to approach Chandlo to say that he likes him more than a friend. And then Chandlo goes, "What are you talking about? We've been dating for ages."
Aww.
And it's like, it's such a goofy game, but it was such a nice moment that the dude bro, Chandlo was like, "What are you talking about, dude? We've been dating for ages." And I'm like,
that's great.
Aww. So
that's
that was
cute.
actually
he was just so blinded by the love that he didn't know they were already a thing.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought that was a very, very cute moment.
That is very adorable. As I mentioned, a few of the ones that JP rattled off earlier would certainly make the short list. But I've gone with a more recent game. We're talking about The Last of Us Part 2, and we're talking about a flashback scene that Ellie has where Joel takes Ellie on like a little surprise adventure through the forests and everything to the Wyoming Museum for her birthday. And they explore this museum. They have some cute little banter. There's some great little in-jokes about Jurassic Park and things like that. And then it ends with they jump in this space shuttle, and he puts this tape deck and the headphones on her, and she hears this space launch, and they sort of play it out. And it's such a beautiful, beautiful scene. It's probably 30 minutes or so worth of game time there, and it's a breakaway from what happens, and it's just really, really touching. Like it messed me up from the jump, obviously, and it's sort of just seeing this bond further develop, this sort of surrogate father-daughter relationship that they've had since the original game, and it's just perfect. It really is. Oh my goodness, it's just this game makes me feel all the emotions all the time. But this was just a beautiful moment amongst a lot of heavy dread, darkness, emotional gut punches, and it's some of my favorite writing in video games. Just this little 30-minute sort of breakaway flashback that's just so full of heart, and it's so wholesome, and the acting is on point, and the soundtrack, and just this little world, and I'm all about it.
Yeah, the little bit of sunshine in that game, it seems like, because I've watched people play that certain part, and it does seem very heartwarming, very special. A very special moment for these two characters, especially considering what's to come. So yeah, I can understand that.
I like that. I like that it's a little bit of sunshine. That's a perfect way to describe that whole scene there, because that franchise isn't known for constant good amounts of positivity and happiness. So you sort of take them as you can while you're playing The Last of Us Part 2. Moving on to the next question. Who/what is the most unique character that you find attractive / have a crush on in a video game? Miss Hart, did you want to grab Twitters or Discords on this one?
I'll just keep the Discords.
Easy peasy.
If they hear me get their name wrong multiple times, you can just keep hearing it again, guys. So we have Tillhouse, who says, Rinoa Hartley from Final Fantasy VIII was my video game crush as a kid. And I know that character because that's the one Final Fantasy that I've actually played. And I get it. Cute little petite, black hair, a very classic outfit from like what I remember like growing up and like it being referenced.
Like a blue singlet top thingy.
It actually seems one of the more kind of practical, JRPG outfits that you usually see a female lead wear. But yeah, it was kind of badass. So, and I get this crush. She's really cute.
She is very cute. Is it very narrow-minded of me to say that she sort of reminds me a little bit of Tifa from 7?
Maybe a little.
Okay. She's got the same sort of hairstyle and
well, her hair's short.
Yeah.
Isn't Tifa's hair long? Like her hair's like Rinoa's hair's about here.
Yeah. Yeah, like I'm looking at some photos of her as well, and it's like bust level, bust length.
I remember it being a little bit more shorter than that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I have like referenced like her hair before and being like, that was when I was young Allie and with my natural brown hair going like, I could do black hair. I could totally do black hair. She could not.
She could not.
Next up, we have Lemo Tank, who says Elizabeth from Bioshock Infinite. We might have a running on what your favorite game is.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal game though. Like I loved what they did with Infinite. Like it's a great step away from what we got with 1 and 2 about being, deep in the ocean with the Rapture, and now you're, up in this sky city, and it's really vibrant. And Elizabeth, she's an adorable character. Like
she's cute.
You do feel some things for Miss Elizabeth during your journey as Booker DeWitt.
And another good outfit too, blue and white as well.
Just like Renault there.
Yeah,
some continuity.
Next up, we have Clayton, who says Morgana from Persona 5?
Yep.
All right.
It is the most unique. Like, we're talking about unique characters.
We are talking about unique. He's the little cat party member. Oh, I know. And is so cute and is such a smart ass. Oh, okay. That's fair. Got a large plush toy of him when I went to Japan 2018. Oh, I see. Okay. Like, I agree. Morgana is adorable. Like, I actually adored Morgana as a character in Persona. Especially like those moments that you share just like it's going to sound wrong, but like those, moments that you two share together just in your room in the apartment, just at late of night, like some of those conversational pieces that you have. So you really feel for Morgana.
He is so full of heart and guidance. Some of them little back and forths you have with Morgana and Joker, where, as you said, like you've just finished your shift or you've just gotten back from the batting cages or whatever else, and you're talking about life. And yeah, he's a great little confidant to have by your side in Persona 5. Even
with Morgana dealing with Morgana's like issues and what they're dealing with. So yeah, like I get it from a very emotional level, to be honest. So
yeah.
And then we have Ramsa, who says Lynn from Fire Emblem, the Blazing Sword. Now Fire Emblem, because I only knew of since Three Houses, because that game went off. Like everyone was playing it. And I've got to say, from Three Houses, there is a lot of good-looking characters, both female, male. Like they look really nice. So I'm sure.
What's interesting is Lynn is also wearing a blue garb. Like we're getting some consistency here as far as these crushes, where they're all in like a blue colored attire, and it's got like a split in the skirt, similar to some of the characters we just mentioned, like similar to Renoa's outfit. So it's interesting that there's consistencies here amongst the listeners.
Ladies need to wear blue. It's the
color. And bit of blue in color, and show a bit of leg, and you might make a random list like this one day. All right, if we migrate over to Twitter, @It'sTilby says, Overwatch's Zarya could carry me in her arms and I'd have absolutely no problem with it.
Oh, nice. Nice. I get it.
She is a very powerful, sexy, stoic woman, isn't she?
I get it. Her 80s outfit is awesome, so I get it.
Yeah, nah, she's something. She'd like even Tilby, if you weren't feeling like getting carried, she'd just pick you up over her shoulder and take you away because she'd a boss. She'd a boss lady. And at Rusty Steelpipe on Twitter, Hannah from Twilight Princess. I remember spending hours fishing because it's idyllic just to hang out in a boat on the lake with her.
Aww.
That is about 1,000 cutes, Rusty Steelpipe. 1,000 cutes. Yeah, like I'm a sucker for a good fishing moment in a video game, and if you can add a little bit of heart and do it with a friend, I think that's a win. And she's a cute little character, and having a little companion with you as you wet a line and try and catch some fish, it's great. I like her little bucket hat she wears when they're out in the lake too. Gotta say, sun smart, as they say, slip, slop, slap.
Classic. Plus a girl that fishes.
A lot of fishes. Miss Hart, what's your most unique character that you find attractive / have a crush on in a video game?
I was going through unique, right? And then I also realized that I don't really have like crushes on characters too much. Like I think I've previously said I've had a crush on Shax from Destiny because I just love his nature and his supportiveness.
He gets behind you.
He gets behind you.
When Guardians are doing well, old Shax is a bit tingly under that armor suit, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I want someone to get excited about my wins more than me, so that'd be great. But then I was like thinking in the past, like who I found, like I was kind of like, okay, all right. And like I realized Johnny Gat was one from Saints Row.
Damn, yep. Is it because he just got this swagger about him?
Yeah,
was it the swagger that got him?
He's got the smart ass attitude. He was like super cool without really needing to try, and he was super loyal as well. So I think like I kind of had that, and I was also thinking about like Goro Majima as well from the Yakuza series. But like, Ponytail's all right, but I obviously like him in the classic gold open suit, like the golden tux where he wears with no shirt underneath, with the eye patch.
Fashion statement right there.
Yeah, and then I just kept on thinking about it, and then I'm also like, I think I also have a thing for Gorons from Zelda.
Okay, it's fair. It's fair. I'm not one. I'm never going to pass judgment on who people find attractive or not attractive in this world. Like, it's funny. Like, there's a lot of unique people, like a lot of unique looking people in this world and in the video game worlds, and you know what? That's perfectly fine. You know, there's somebody for everybody. I'm a big believer in that.
Sometimes you just want someone big and strong that can roll around all over the place.
Yeah. I've I had a little bit of a reflection on this question, and it's funny because I realize I develop crushes very easily in games and sometimes in life. Curse my big old heart. But I sort of just narrowed in on the Mass Effect franchise as a whole, as far as my most unique characters, because not only did I find that like all these alien races, I think, and a lot of people, like I don't think it's uncommon, like a lot of people sort of have a little bit of a alien crush or kink to themselves, you know, and, Liara's gorgeous, Tali, I think is great. Like you never really see her face. She's in like this pressurized spacesuit, and she's almost like this like floating alien void entity under there, but like she's a Korean, one of the core members of Shepard's squad. Really, really smart, bit of a genius. You have some really cool and in-depth conversations with her, but then like outside of that, even like crushing on Garrus. Everybody loves Garrus. Everyone's got a thing for Garrus, but like Thane Krios, like this old Zen sniper master, who's like, what's that? What's that Guillermo del Toro movie that just came out? Something about the water. He's like a fish man.
Yeah, there's like a fish guy in it.
Yeah, and that's Thane. You know, even like Grunt and Rex, like the big giant, reptilian tadpole looking fellas. Like even just like their like machismo and everything, I find myself I'm like, yeah, you're all right. You know, I could if there's a romance option for you, Grunt, I'd take you to a place on the Citadel and wine and dine you. Like, I don't know. I think.
Did they just make this game purposefully just making everyone pretty all right? Like, someone that you'd want to get with?
Yeah, I think so. Like there is a couple of characters that I despise with a passion in that game that, I definitely never take to the captain's quarters. But yeah, I think just I think it's the unknown. Like any game where there is this courtship with like an alien race or like a synthetic or a robot or whatever, anything that's just like left of center, it's got this just immediate intrigue for me where I'm like, I think I could love you and I think we could make it work. Like just this weird dumb shit like that. And then I just see if it works out. Like, but yeah, I'm just going to sort of blanket statement my response and say any of the non-humanoid characters from the Mass Effect franchise. So yeah, anyone like, PB and in Andromeda going all the way back to number 1 with Liara and Garrus and co. Like I'm all in. Give me that crazy alien space sex. Give it to me. Actually, every which way.
I'm also going to say this. It sounds like very conceited, but I guess technically it's not. I totally am attracted to my Destiny character, by the way. She's great. She's got an amazing butt. So yeah, I'm attracted to my own character. So
that's fine. Yeah. As the great RuPaul says, how can you love somebody else if you don't love yourself? Yeah. I think I paraphrased that.
I think you did.
But yeah, you do. You gotta love yourself before you can love anybody else. So Miss Hart, you're on the right track. There's hope for you yet.
I'm taking this out of the gutter. So next question.
All right. The next one, I thought we'd just have a quick look at the ranker.com official website. Clearly, you can't deny or argue with any of these statistics or ranking lists. Obviously, Ranker, as the website is titled, all they really have is crowd-ranked lists on everything in the universe you could think of. You want to find a list about, the hottest, I don't know, McDonald's characters or something. No doubt it's on ranker.com. So
no doubt it's Grimace.
No doubt. Oh, yeah, definitely not Birdie. No, she can piss off. Yeah. But give me a bit of that big purple. Give me a bit of that. Definitely not Hamburglar too. I just don't think you can trust him.
Leave Hamburglar on the list. Guy wears masks.
Yeah, you can't try. Oh, yeah, bit of
keep
the
there. Hat on.
Bit of S&M. Keep the hat on and that tie, son. Come get these cheeseburgers. All right. So first and foremost, we're going to look at the. This is a very in-depth list. Like it goes. It's holy moly. It keeps going. Like it's probably 100 characters. We're not going to do that, but we're just going to maybe look at the top 10, and then maybe. Throw in anyone else that you think would make this list. So these are based off the votes here from the top 10. There's about 2,700 or so votes on average per person in this top 10. And number 10 and number 9 are done by Street Fighter characters. We've got Chun-Li coming in at number 10 with the big powerful thighs and the old hurricane kick. Then we've got Cammy, the English super spy with the two long braids at number 9. Bayonetta coming in at number 8. We've got Cortana from Halo at number 7. Yennefer from the Witcher series at number 6. Jill Valentine from obviously Resident Evil in number 5. Morrigan Ainsland from the Darkstalkers series coming in at number 4. Number 3, we've got Samus from the Metroid franchise, and Lara Croft at number 2. And at number 1, Tifa Lockhart, who we mentioned earlier from Final Fantasy VII. So, Miss Hart, how would you, are you in agreement with that 10? Is there anyone that you'd probably bump out and include in place?
Cammy can
what's
get
your quick
fucked.
thoughts on this?
I don't understand why Cammy's there.
Yeah, she's she's nothing special. Maybe it's the Kylie Minogue bump from the movie. Kylie Minogue is a world-renowned superstar, so maybe they get a bit of Kylie Minogue fandom there to get her into the top 10.
Perhaps. I'm pretty happy Bayonetta gets a mention in here because I think Bayonetta's pretty damn smoking hot. Yennefer makes sense as well. I just want everyone to know that the Cortana picture that they've decided to use is clearly like a Rule 34 one. It's definitely not official.
There's some sexy fanfic. If you turn the page after that photo there, Master Chief, she's getting the John Spartan, that's for sure.
And I just want to also give an honorable mention to Samus being on here because you technically only see her in a robot suit most of the time, right? So
she's in. You see her in a few iterations where she's in a more streamlined outfit, and she's an attractive character. I think it's still one of the biggest like whoa moments in gaming where, way back when on the Game Boy and she takes that helmet off and you find out she's a female. Like it's a bit of a big moment. Old Morrigan from Darksiders, the busty, sexy green-haired vampire girl.
Yeah.
She's certainly in a fair amount of Rule 34. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
This listing's interesting, I think. Like, just missing the top 10, you've got like Katana and Melina at 11 and 13.
Yeah.
Catwoman at 12. Ada Wong at 14. Princess Zelda at 15. Catherine, see from the game called Catherine. And then you see Ari from League of Legends popping in at 18 there. But
Can't confirm.
I think this list is pretty fair. Tifa is gorgeous, and I do have a bit of a crush on old Tifa. I'd probably put Yennefer at the top, though.
I don't get Tifa. I don't get Are you guys also like attracted to her personality as well? Because for me, I feel like Tifa's very plain Jane when it comes to all the video game characters that are out there, and you guys go for like Tifa.
I don't know. There's just something about her. Like, she's got a big heart. And maybe I do like the plain Jane. Maybe I do. I want some stability in my life, Miss Hart. I don't need to worry that I'm going to come home one day and there's going to be some big drama going on at home, or they've disappeared on an adventure and they're off raiding tombs and I don't see them again for 2 years. I want some stability at my
aliens.
home.
Yeah.
But yeah, Yen's my number one. We've talked about her in length on previous love and romance themed episodes here. So yeah, Yen would land at number one for me there. But Miss Hart, if we sort of jump across and give some of the blokes a bit of love. Sadly, there isn't a list on Ranker for the hottest male characters in video games. So
Which kind of throws what you said before really into a loop.
They've got everything, yeah, I know. I was talking them up and then talking them down, that's what we do here. But there's a few interesting lists doing the rounds. I've sort of correlated a couple of them, and one list on the top10s.com actually saw Sonic the Hedgehog at number one.
Hell yeah!
As hottest male video game characters.
Oh, hottest. I was going to say most girls probably wouldn't want him because he's got to go fast.
But some common threads we're seeing on these lists. Nathan Drake is constantly in the top 5 to top 3. Geralt of Rivia makes the list very regularly as well. Snow Villiers from Final Fantasy 13 with his random bit of fringe popping down between his beanie, or I don't know, do-rag or whatever the heck he's wearing all the time. Everyone loves a bit of Snow. John Marston gets a bit of love on there too. Solid Snake is a constant. We get a bit of Link. But yeah, I think universally, or not universally, but for the most part, Nathan Drake is the man. Jacob Taylor from Mass Effect 2 gets a bit of love. And also on a list from levelskip.com, they give the number one to Waluigi as the hottest male video game character of all time.
That makes sense. Yes, it does make sense. But like the previous list, you know what? Prince Sidon from Breath of the Wild, Zelda Breath of the Wild. I get that. Yep. Like there was a moment where like I was dealing with him. I'm like, So
maybe.
Yeah, maybe. And Jin in Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, Jin. Kratos gets some love. The big burly demigod. He's certainly another one. Like we were talking about Zarya picking you up and throwing you over your shoulder. Kratos would do the same. But there's a lot of great characters.
Not a talker though.
No. But I'm happy with that. After I've had a long day at work, where my job for the most part is talking, the last thing some days I want to do is get home and get into a very in-depth discussion. So Kratos and I, we could have something. We could have something there.
Yeah, it could work.
Yeah. All right. So let's keep things moving, and we're gonna jump onto our last question that we sort of got some listener responses on, and that is, who's your video game ride or die? Miss Hart, I'm going to throw the Discordies to you.
Hell yeah. All right, Tillhouse. You said Epona. That's quite literal. Right. Legend of Zelda. And I used to whistle Epona's song to my daughter when she was a baby, and every time I whistle the song now, it makes me smile. So for that, Epona is my video game MVP. That just was so cute at the end there with the song and the whistle. I know the tune, so
yeah, that is certainly a winner right there. Yeah, it's certainly, we won't see any Roach from The Witcher 3 as far as horse love, that's for sure, because that horse is the polar opposite of Epona, I think. What was that?
That was rude. I just said there's a mod for it.
Hey.
Horse love. Next up, we have Lemotank, who says Master Chief. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yep.
We got Clayton saying Chris Redfield, been with him from the original Resident Evil. So interesting to see how Village goes, considering they seem to be making him the bad guy. That's true. It does look like that.
I'm very excited to see if Chris is sort of this antagonist in Village. It certainly is cut that way in the trailers, but it's a good thing with a good trailer. It can be very misleading. So we shall see.
Clayton, I'm very curious because Chris has had a lot of changes to his appearance. So
yeah,
I'd be kind of curious which one's your favorite, which is the one that you associate with more, I guess.
He's become a very big boy, Chris Redfield. Yeah. He's very, very chonky these days.
Ramsar said Big Boss from Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah. You know, the various iterations of Solid and Liquid and all their other names they're known
Melted.
as, like, yeah, gas. I always found with Metal Gear Solid, though, the more intriguing and interesting characters were not tied to the main line. Like, it was always the baddies and the ancillary characters you meet along the way. Like, old Snake, he was a dude, but you know, he was just there. He was the main device and the character of the game, but all the other characters I thought were always more interesting in their little backstories and stuff. All right, jumping over Twitter's @It'sTilby says, more recent one, but it's got to be Judy. Obviously, we're talking Judy Alvarez from Cyberpunk 2077, and she is a great character, and you do have some phenomenal moments with her in the game, which we'll be talking about on the Cyberpunk 2077 spoiler cast.
I won't voice my opinions of Judy here. You can hear it on the spoiler cast.
Yeah, tune in on that. And that Rusty Steelpipe on Twitter's ride or die for Lucatiel of Mira in Dark Souls 2, a peerless fighter, kind and honourable despite her steadily deteriorating mind. Her ending is tragic, but I always aid her quest in every run. That's great. Like, I know a little bit about this character, and yeah, from what I hear, it is a bit of an emotional story as far as how it plays out for Lucatiel. But Dark Souls, those games just terrified me.
Yeah,
it's not so terrifying and so angry. Miss Hart, who's your video game ride or die?
So I had to think about this one, and I decided to go with Lydia from Elder Scrolls. The reason I chose Lydia is because, like, the first time I ever played it, I enjoyed her, like, company as a companion and everything, and then she just died. I don't know where she died. I don't know. I couldn't find her body. I lost her. And because of that, I stopped playing. I just stopped playing the game. So
wow. It impacted you that heavily.
It impacted me that heavily. And it's only been Lydia where I've returned to a game and, like, I made right this time. So I went to her, I married her, made her an honest woman. So we bought the house in Helayakan Hall, which is up in the mountains. So we had this beautiful little, like, actually it's quite a decent sized house. So up in the mountains, and she's just so strong. She speaks her mind, and she's not, unfamiliar with sarcasm. So Lydia's my ride or die.
Yeah, 2 peas in a pod there. That description at the end. Yeah, so you've got a nice house, nice life, nice woman, with some wholesome content there in Skyrim. It's such a great game. Such a great game.
I didn't want her to die again, so I, married her and put her in the house, and she can do whatever she wants there, so she won't die.
I've got to say, when you do lose a partner in a video game, whether it be someone that you're maybe already with at the start of a game and you just see the story play out during the game, or someone that you can court and marry and whatever else, then you lose them. It is one of the most heartbreaking things that can happen in gaming by a long way. At least for me, like, it messes me up when
it does.
You put all this hard work in to become this person's partner, only for them to be ripped away in a big catastrophic event or, you know, a crazy big scene that plays out in a mission. Like, it is heartbreaking and, you know, soul crushing. So, I feels you. I feels you. My ride, I don't know if I have one ride or die. Sort of doubling back to what I was saying with Mass Effect, I seem to fall in love or in lust or crush in video games and media and probably life, which I need to probably get assessed and addressed far too easily. So I've got many a ride or die. Like, my most recent is obviously Pan Am from Cyberpunk 2077. I'm all about her. I would take all the bullets for her. I adore that woman. You know, people like Yen in Mass Effect, Aloy in Horizon, not in Mass Effect, Yen in The Witcher. Aloy in Horizon Zero Dawn. These characters, I'm just all about them as a person and just what they stand for, or just how great they are, or the stories and the hardship they go through. So I'm all about these big, strong female leads within gaming. So I'm just gonna shout out all of my ride or dies that I've experienced over the years. You know, I'm mailing this answer in because I couldn't settle on just one. I liked Clayton with the Redfield reference. Like, I had some Resident Evil people on the shortlist, like Jill Valentine, Leon Kennedy from Resident Evil 2. I probably side with slightly more than Chris because he's a little bit more of a nicer character with some more believable motives. I'm a big fan of Leon, but yeah, that's my ride or die. My other one I was going to mention that I had on my notes is Squirtle from Pokemon. I always have to get me a little Squirtle in just about every Pokemon playthrough I have, and if, like, going back to the OGs, he was always my starter, even though Charmander and Bulbasaur are great additions as well. He's my ride or die, little Squirtle. I'm going to get a Squirtle tattoo eventually, but yeah, he's my little reptilian ride or die. Love me, Squirtle.
Oh, shout side up. That's so nice.
Say, all right, Miss Hart. Let's jump into the last segment of this podcast, and this isn't tied into listener responses, but we thought we'd each write a love letter to a game that was either released in 2020 or to be released in 2021. We'll put an asterisk with that, obviously, with COVID and things and delays. These games could slip into future years, but at this stage, these games that we may be talking about for 2021 are on the release schedule for this year. So, yeah. Miss Hart, did you want to lead us off? Like, we haven't seen each other's respective love letters here, so we don't know what's going to get talked about, and I'm excited. I'm excited to hear you speak from the heart on this one.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen. This is my love letter. I remember when I first heard about you all those years ago. I couldn't wait to see you. So many things I wanted to know. When it was almost time for us to meet, you had to cancel our date. You didn't feel 100% ready, and so a few months more I would wait. Then came the special day when you were here, and it turned out to be the perfect time, I must confess. Little did you know, when you had to push back, you would arrive when the world was a mess. You gave me an island, a little place to call my own, a nice getaway from everything, to build, to have fun, to grow. I made friends with cute little critters. I got to build my very own home. You fulfilled my greatest fantasy, to know how to fulfill paying off a loan. I admit at times I would go away for many months on end, but I do appreciate you trying to spice it up with parties and fun events. The main thing is, you are always there for me, and we were never truly apart. So here's to you, Animal Crossing New Horizons. Happy Valentine's Day from Miss Ali Hart.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That was perfect. The rhyming, chef's kiss, phenomenal. I wasn't sure which game you were going to go with. I was thinking about this when I was writing mine this morning at like 1:30. And I thought maybe Animal Crossing might get some love, and I'm happy that's where you went. And nailed it. Nailed it.
Thank you so much. It was actually pretty surprisingly easy to write. So shout out to...
It flowed like fine wine. It was great. I'm upset there was no rhyming of Tom Nook and Crook in there, but I know you've got a bit more of a high regard for Mr.
Yes, some
Mr.
of
Nook
us love and appreciate Mr. Nook. Okay, so
and his life lessons.
yeah. All right, let's hear it.
All right, here's my love letter. Sadly, I've got no rhyming in mine. Mine's more of just a letter from my sleep-deprived heart. That's 1 a.m. this morning. Dearest Guerrilla Games, nearly 4 years have passed since I first fell in love with your then new ambitious post-apocalyptic action RPG that was unlike anything you and your development team had attempted previously. Going from a tired and aimless franchise like Killzone to Horizon Zero Dawn is something I will never forget. The story of a young huntress abandoned at birth by her people and raised by my body double Roast, and I'm still waiting on my royalty checks, Gorilla. Aloy is a character very near and dear to not only my heart, but also the other 10 million people have purchased your fantastic game. The story of a strong and smart female lead trying to find her place in a robot dinosaur-filled world was everything I wanted and more. As I sit here at my desk, staring up with heart eyes at my signed Horizon Zero Dawn poster, cheers Joel Ursher, I cannot help but daydream and fantasize about what giant creatures Aloy will encounter during her adventures in 2021's, fingers crossed, Forbidden West. Will we see a group of Robo-Raptors? Perhaps Mechagodzilla? Maybe a Jeff Goldblum crossover? Can you imagine? My heart would explode from such happiness. As I type this letter, my fingers are already tingling with excitement about the increased immersion possibilities courtesy of the PlayStation 5's DualSense controller. Feeling the tension on my Kaja Warbow's bowstring just before I let my arrow fly is going to be an experience I will sing from the rooftops for years to come. With the latest PS5 technological advancements, Forbidden West could be special. No, scratch that. It will be special. Just make sure it's done right. No corners are to be cut, no teraflops are to be left behind. Please, Gorilla, treat my Aloy with care. She means the absolute world to me. If you were to release her into the world underprepared and incomplete, it would break my heart. The world is in a dark enough place already, and the last thing we need is another broken game that social media shitheads can zero in on and aimlessly attack and tear down. Aloy, Silence, Hades, I'll see you on launch day. I'll be there with flowers and one of those embarrassing I love you airport signs. Love always. Horizon Zero Dawn superfan, Brendan White.
Aww. It was such a sweet letter. Also, but there was like a lot of moments there where I'm almost certain there was like double meanings, like pulling back your arrow and a little bit of tension there. Okay.
Maybe, but this was all from my heart. It was it was just trying to sort of write a little love letter to not only Guerrilla Games but Horizon Zero Dawn as a whole, and Aloy for just being a great little character. So Miss Hart, that brings us to the end of our very different episode 228 of The Hungry Gamers. Anything you want to say before we close up the studio for another week?
Well, I guess the bottom line is on this Valentine's, the Day of Love, all the negative that I said before, the main thing is just always to make sure that you're looking out for yourself and that, you love yourself one way or another.
Amen to that. Like, and for those that are listening that might not have a special someone, don't beat yourself up. Like, the world doesn't end if you're alone. Like, I'm in that boat right now. You want to get together and play some games and have a laugh on Valentine's Day? Hit me up. Actually, no, you can't, because it's going to be past Valentine's Day when this comes out. If you want to play some games on belated Valentine's Day, let's say Monday when this game releases, hit me up. But yeah, you'll be fine. There's, as I said, there's someone out there for everybody. Your time will come. You will find that great grand romance. You will find the person that you can build or buy a house up on the hill and have these moments like Miss Hart does in Skyrim with Lydia, and Till House has with Epona, and Clayton with Chris Redfield. All these things, like, there's someone out there for everybody, and your time will come. But just keep that head up, keep fighting, and keep that heart open. You never know who's going to walk through that door one day and give you that life you want. But yeah, Miss Hart, I think that's it for us here at THG. Until next week, ATEBIT Nation, much love.
And stay hungry.
You've been listening to The Hungry Gamers, one of many gaming and geek culture related podcasts from the 8-Bit Collective over on 8bit.net. Check out more episodes on your podcast service of choice. And while you're there, please be sure to rate and subscribe. Until next time, boys and girls, stay hungry.